Hey everybody, I'm Shane Ireland and welcome to another episode of Tasting Notes. I'm very excited today, as I usually am when I sit in this chair, but I am revisiting an old friend and honestly one of the most impressive and one of my personal favorite tobaccos that's been released in the last many years, Cornell and Diehl's small batch Steamworks. I think one of the reasons that Steamworks sort of took the pipe world by storm upon its initial release a couple years ago is that it was one of the most sort of ambitious Virginia projects that I think Jeremy Reeves has ever approached. So he has made some Virginia blends in the last several years, I'll say in the last decade, that have blown me away, that have sort of redefined what could come from sort of a small producer like Cornell and Diehl, and also what one could do with high quality Virginia leaf, thought to be sort of lost to the ages in this modern world. A lot of those blends that were very memorable, I really enjoyed, but Steamworks had something special going on. I think it is both a mix of the components chosen and the grades of Virginia's chosen, and the process itself, which is extremely labor intensive. The 2026 edition of Cornell and Diehl's Small Batch Steamworks is the same recipe as the previously released editions. Not only the same recipe, but the same grades of Virginia. I'll get back to that in just a second because that is interesting when you're comparing over the years. But the interesting thing about Steamworks is the process. This includes both a blend of steamed Virginias and an additional unsteamed Virginia, combined with 2005 Heritage Orientals and genuine St. James Parish Perique from 31 Farms. So the steam component in Steamworks is several different Virginia grades combined and then steamed together. Those grades are a 4521 Red Virginia from 2021, a TBFO from 2019 Dark Red Virginia, and then my favorite, a Dark Red Virginia from Georgia. The grade is GAJRL, and that is from 2019. To that, an Orange Virginia from 2021 is added. Those are blended together and steamed. An unsteamed portion of the GAJRL from 2019 from Georgia is added to the blend, along with, like I said, the 2005 Heritage Orientals and the genuine St. James Parish Perique from 31 Farms. Certainly a mouthful. It's a lot of grades, and I think that the interesting thing about Steamworks, and we covered this a lot the first time it was released, but all of those grades of Virginias play a different role. You have varying degrees of curing, of flue curing, varying sugar levels, the terroir, of course, that goes into it, and then the double processing of both the steamed and the unsteamed Virginias. You're basically getting the best of all worlds. In my opinion, Steamworks is not just an easy to enjoy and a very approachable blend that has enough complexity to keep even the most picky Virginia smokers happy. It is the best of pretty much every Virginia that you've ever tried. It has the maltiness and the sweetness and the soft edges of something that's far more mature than it actually is here in the tin. And that is balanced by the condimental leaf, the Orientals and the Perique. It basically is the ultimate Virginia smoker's flake. This is something that I could smoke all day, every day, and frankly, the only reason I haven't been able to do that is because of availability. Being both a small batch and a really highly sought after small batch, I had to be very sparing with my measly 10 tins from each of the first two releases that I was able to acquire. So I'm really pleased to see Steamworks back. And switching gears a little bit, I did mention that the blend is unchanged and even the grades and the components are unchanged. That means that the 2026 version of this features the same tobaccos from 2021, 2019, etc., with an additional pre-industry aging on them in that time period since the original was released. So I think you're going to get a different experience, not drastically different, but it's really interesting to compare this, for example, to tins from the original release that have been aging in the tin in a totally different environment that entire time. My experience so far with the 2026 version of Small Batch Steamworks is that it has even more of a mature feel to it than this blend did in the first two iterations, and I felt that they did smoke like a mature tobacco as well. This one feels even more mature. So yes, I know that consciously these tobaccos have aged a little bit longer before being blended, steamed, pressed, and cut, but you really do feel that in the smoke too. It's not just the very soft, pillowy, and sort of velvety-like texture of the smoke. There's a ton of body. It's the flavors. I get a lot of richness, a lot of depth of flavor, and sort of a wide range. I fell in love with Steamworks initially when it was released a few years ago because it felt like on paper a tobacco product that was for me specifically. A Virginia Perique with lots of different grades of Virginias where that is the platform and the main focus of the blend, and the condimental components really play a supporting role. There's a ton of complexity here, but it's extremely approachable and extremely comforting. Those are the tobacco products that I come back to over and over again. The ones that feel effortless, easy to enjoy, versatile. You can enjoy them in a lot of different situations, a lot of different pairings, a lot of different pipe sizes. I think if you smoke Cornell and Diehl small batch Steamworks 1,000 different times, you can have the same level of enjoyment, the same level of comfort, the same level of ease of enjoyment, and still have nearly a different experience every time as well. The more that you pay attention, the more that you pay attention to your cadence, the more that you're focused on the pipe, the complexity factor is very high. And I've said this before of other tobaccos, and it's one of the features that really stands out to me in a tobacco, but it sort of elegantly fades into the background if you need it to. You can just smoke this. It doesn't have to be complicated. You can load it up. The moisture content right out of the tin is perfect, and you light, it takes to the flame easy, and that's not true of all steamed tobaccos in my experience. I find this to be just as close to perfect as it gets, maybe. Oh man, beautiful flakes, mostly dark in color, so very, very dark, obviously the steamed components, a lot of chestnut, a couple of lighter flecks. Graham cracker, fresh bread, like a malty beer, like an amber ale or a red ale. There's a good amount of sweetness, a little bit of almost like caramelized sugar. It's pretty faint. And then a little bit of some fruitiness and a little bit of some spice and some earthiness. I think that's coming from the Continental Perique and the Heritage Orientals from 2005. It has a little bit of everything. It's just the right amount. Not too much spice, not too much sweetness, not too much malty character, not too much grassy. I think balance is what a lot of blenders strive for, and I think it's what a lot of consumers and smokers look for in a blend. And there have been a lot of balanced blends on the market over the years. I can't think of one that's more balanced than Steamworks. I mentioned that the moisture content right out of the tin is ideal. I wouldn't want to lose any of the complexity or the nuance of this blend by giving it too much drying time. I do give it a little bit of aeration when I break it up. It also produces a lot of smoke. It's dense, it's heavy on the palate, but soft. There's no spikes in flavor. The spice that is there is very delicate. Like when I retrohale, it's just on the finish. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of stewed fruit, a lot of those sort of malty and grainy and baked goods kind of notes. If there was a platonic ideal of what a Virginia flake should be, in my opinion, this is it. Today I'm smoking Cornell & Diehl Small Batch Steamworks 2026 in a little billiard made by Former. It's one of my favorite Virginia pipes and just sort of middle of the road size for me. And I do tend to enjoy blends like this with a little bit more depth of chamber than some of the pipes I normally smoke because I really want to see how it develops throughout the bowl. And frankly, because I don't really want these bowls to end. If Steamworks was already on your radar, you don't need to listen to me. You can just go ahead and hunt for it, and good luck, and I wish you well. If it's not on your radar, I think if you're fans of any of the Virginias that Jeremy Reeves and Cornell & Diehl have produced over the last 10 years, this one's going to be at the top of those lists. Other than that, if you're a fan of the discontinued McBaron's Pure Virginia, if you're a fan of things like Full Virginia Flake and Best Brown from the Gaywith houses, if you're a fan of even some of the medium range Rattray's Virginias like Old Gowrie, this is just perfect. I think any Virginia or any Virginia Perique smoker is going to find this to be like a winner. And I think that if you normally smoke things like Englishes or aromatics or even Burley blends, this is going to be one of the most approachable and easy to enjoy and also least temperamental Virginias that you've ever seen.